part of the program actively by just sending in your questions, your comments for the panelists. And to direct this first panel, I do have to call up Arthur Matsaudza, who is OldMutual Zimbabwe executive. Please, Arthur, could you come forward? And he will, of course, introduce us to his panelists. So please give them a round of applause. I'll share my mic with you just this once.
Good morning. Wow, this is an amazing stage. Mehluli, you were so absolutely right. The colors that I'm seeing here, absolutely amazing. Allow me to call upon the speakers that are joining us for this panel discussion. We've got Isabel Nyarota, General Manager for OldMutual Finance. We have Chiedza Makwara, multilingual speaker, entrepreneur, best-selling author, businesswoman and producer.
Thank you.
We have Kudzai Dev, founder of K-Dev Packaging Private Limited. Last but not least, we have Tofara Chokera, CEO and founder of Tofara Online. Kuda spoke about equity, embracing equity, and I'm looking at these lovely ladies here with nice chairs, and I'm looking at the chair that has been set up for me. I hope I'll be able to get down there. But as the ladies settle down, you know, the saxophone, wow, that was amazing. And for a moment, it reminded me why I love my wife so much, you know, so I was like, wow. And talking about my wife, I woke her up so early this morning, and I said, I have to moderate a panel. I'm speaking to powerful women today. How do I do it? Well, she's like, that's simple. You have to listen. And then I said, I don't think we do a good job as men, you know, listening. But what she said after kind of interested me, because she said, as you listen, make sure you learn and be inspired. Then I was like, wow, I've got a beautiful daughter. She's 9 years old. I need to learn from the best women that are present here today so that she can grow to be just like you and also go on stage. Which is absolutely amazing. So I'm absolutely honored to moderate this panel. Very powerful women that are seated here. I was just going through their profiles this morning, and I was like, how does she do it? Before Chiedza, I don't know how many languages she speaks. And then I said, let me try and test one of them. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Comment ça va?
Bien, merci.
Oh, très bien. Je ne comprends pas le français, so I'll go back to English. Yes, great. So, all protocol observed, allow us to start our great discussion. Let's get to know these ladies a lot more. Isabel, would love to start with you briefly. If you can introduce yourself, what makes you tick, what makes you different, and what gets you to be one of those 53% of the ladies that Mehluli spoke about in our Group ESCO at OldMutual. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Arthur, and good morning, everyone. It's very difficult to talk about yourself because you tend to focus on the things that people know. So I started my career with Kingdom Financial Holdings soon after university as a graduate trainee. That experience for me was great in the sense that I got to learn. It was a 2-year period that was filled with learning. The bank had just started, and therefore I had opportunities to learn from the entire business. From there, I then joined Tetrad briefly before I came to OldMutual. At OldMutual, I started in the asset management business, totally different from what I do today, but a very fulfilling experience. Today, I head the microfinance business within OldMutual. When I started this job, I was not sure I could do it. But the amount of fulfillment that I've gotten from my job is amazing. What I've also learned in the job that I do is I always joke and I say, I think I found my passion in OldMutual Finance, because I have gotten to appreciate that the impact that you make to the individual is what keeps you driving and what keeps you going. When we look at the businesses that we've funded since we've started in 2017 and where they are today, it gives us great pleasure as a team, and we celebrate these businesses every day. Just yesterday, I was speaking to one of our customers who was one of our customers, and she's getting her 11th loan from us. And, you know, it's easier when you have a relationship. It was clear that it's no longer just a business relationship, because the powerful words she said to me yesterday was, I must invite you to my house that OldMutual built for me. So that's what gives us great pleasure at OldMutual Finance. And then on a personal note, I think the one thing that is key for me is I'm a mother of 4. Why I say that is they give me the inspiration, and those 4 are my greatest cheerleaders. And therefore, I think on the personal front, that's what I'll talk about today. Thanks, Arthur.
Thanks so much, Isabel. That is so powerful. The words that you spoke about, if I'm to put a straight line, you were involved, you found your passion, and you started to create a lot of impact, which is really great. I'm learning, and I hope you are learning as well. So we'll get back to you, Isabel, as we get deep into that story. I'd love to go to France. We've got Chiedza next to me, Makwara. Briefly tell us about your professional life, where you started and how you ended up as the managing director of Charlie Stevens International. And in addition, tell us about your sector or work. I've just given you the questions that Kuda gave me, but if I'm to go off script, how do you do it all? I mean, looking at your profile.
Thank you so much, Arthur. Good morning, everybody. Honorable Deputy Minister, Chairperson of the Women's Network, and all our distinguished guests, good morning. My name is Chiedza Makwara. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm a speaker, as he had said, so I will introduce myself in some of the languages. In Chinese, Wo Chiao Chiedza, or what it means, Shi Chiedza. My name is Chiedza, and Makali Linjani, and obviously, bonjour. I'm an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, a speaker, a writer, an award-winning producer for the famous Bongile that some of you know. I'm all over the place with who I am, and for a long time I struggled with that because I didn't want to be a jack of all trades, right? Because a jack of all trades is a master of none. We're taught to, to believe that. But of late, in the last couple of years, I've learned a word called multi-potentialite. That means you can be all these things and still be fantastic and learn how to balance them all. So I learned later on in my life to merge my business side, my professional side, my academic side, and my artist side, and find balance for all those things. It's hard, but if you love and truly love things, you just have to create the time, right? So I started off working somewhere at a logistics company, and I rose above the ranks, and then eventually I opened my own company, Charlie Stevens International. We do customs clearing, freight forwarding, warehousing, and we have a new package for courier where we've merged with one of the banks. You'll be hearing about it soon. I won't, preempt anything. So that's me. That's what I do. I'm also a mom, not a 4 of 1, but I feel like it's 4. Thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup, Chieza. We'll get back to you just now. On my immediate left, I've got Kudzai Dev. When I read through your story, I was inspired. I mean, you started right from the base with just an all-level education, and you still achieve the amazing things that you achieve. Please tell us a lot more about that as you tell us how your journey has gone over the last 20 years in your professional career.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me start by saying, in front of you is seated Mufudzi Wemombe. Do we have Vafudzi Wemombe in here? Embracing, I have to stand. Madam Kuda, thank you. Embracing equity. Thank you, OldMutual. So, seated here, Tati Mufudzi Wemombe, that is the O level you're talking about. Failed 5 times. Not ashamed about it. Seated in front of you is a housemaid. Hello? Anybody who passed through that? Yes. In search for a vision. After that, became a sales rep for one organization for a good 10 years. Taught what submission is all about. Being open to be taught. Visualize someone who was a little shepherd girl, becoming a maid. When we are at OldMutual, we call them sales reps. Is that so? You have changed their names. I know them as sales reps who sell insurance and not knowing how to carry yourself, but you'll be taught how to dress up. By then, so I'll take you back a bit because you need to know who I am. There was a shop called Greatermans and Barbers. They were doing what you did to us today, Madam Kuda, doing the makeup, and are we looking good? Yes. Thanks, OldMutual. So they were teaching, they were doing grooming and deportment at Barbers and Greatermans, and they used to give their clients a VIP card. That's where the grooming started of sales repping for a good 10 years, then resigned to register K. Davy agencies, now trading as K. Davy Packaging.
Absolutely amazing, isn't it? In search for a vision. Powerful, isn't it? Now, the lady to the extreme left, which is your extreme right, has chosen a path that only a few are likely to choose. When I read through her story, she entered the IT engineering field, which is dominated by men. I'd love to hear a lot more around that. Tofara, tell us about that and the journey that you've gone through over the last 15 years and how you've actually started your own business.
Okay. Thank you so much. It is such an honor being here and all protocols observed. Like what he has said, my name is Tofara, and I am the CEO and founder of an organization called Tofara Online, which is a digital marketing and innovation consulting trust. And our main aim is to empower women, youths, and micro, small to medium enterprises to adopt digital marketing and technology, either for business development or for career development. Along my business journey, I also co-founded an organization called the Digital Skills Incubation Hub, which is also a mentorship and coaching hub for women to adopt and learn digital skills to make them employable and also relevant in today's world. So this is a vision. Thank you. So this is a vision that was birthed because I grew up in a community where there was no access to technology, no access to information. The community that I grew up was raising girls just to get married. If I look at my background, me being here is a miracle, but also encouragement to someone to say your background does not determine your future. I attended schools, thank you. I attended schools which had no career development at all. And doing a degree in IT as a first degree at Midland State University was all because of chance. I didn't know what computers are. I saw a computer for the first time at 20. But after realizing the opportunities that are there in the tech space, I went on to work in the corporate world for about 15 years as an IT engineer. But I had more to give to my community and my country. That's how I then left my full-time job to becoming a visionary of an organization which is empowering women to adopt tech and digital skills for their own growth. Thank you for clapping hands for me. So if you look at the job landscape for Africa, it is said that 230 million jobs are going to require digital skills. And if you're a woman in here and you are still having those self-limiting beliefs on acquiring digital skills, one day, even at OldMutual, you're going to become irrelevant. So I'm just going to be here to encourage you to learn a tech skill or a digital skill to remain relevant and also grow your career. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tofara. So impossible is nothing. So I've got a series of questions for our panels. We'll start with, oh, there we go. That chair again. So we'll start with Chihedza. What advice do you have, for women starting out their own businesses? I think as we sit here, all the ladies have started businesses. What would you say, is key looking at that for those with similar ambitions?
Thank you so much, Arthur. My first advice would be to know very specifically what problem are you solving. I'm in logistics, clearing, forwarding, warehousing, and there's so many logistics company. We're over 500, 600 registered with the Shipping and Forwarding Agency of Zimbabwe. And we're all selling the same service, right? Which is logistics. Somebody wants to bring in their container full of, whatever product they have. But what problem is Charlie Stevens International, where I work, solving? And we're not solving the problem of somebody wants to import or export, because everyone else is doing that. But we are solving an efficiency problem. We are solving a communications problem because our colleagues and our counterparts are not doing it so well. So we're doing the same thing, but maybe we are doing it better with our efficiency and our and the way we communicate, number one. Number two, personally, if you're starting a business, know your why. Why are you starting your business? Are you starting it because you want it to become a legacy business, Econet, OldMutual, these big companies, or you just want to, pay your school fees or get through? So that's so important for you to know the reasons why you're doing what you're doing, because it will then, I guess, push you to where you want to go. If you're building a legacy business, you have to know that you have to have all it takes, all the guts, if I may say, to keep going. You're going to get rejected, you're going to fail, but you know that this is for a legacy. But if it's just to, you get through the day, then that's what it is. So that's the advice that I have.
Quite powerful. I'm sure the rest of the ladies would love to hear more about that. I will be opening up shortly for questions from the various tables. But before we do that, Kudzai, back to you. What would you say your most memorable experience is as a female business owner?
What I can say is the most memorable thing for me as a business owner, from being a Mufudzi Mombe to a maid to becoming a CEO who has got about 54 families to feed. How I started, I can say, can you see what I'm holding here? This is my factory. This started at a balcony of a flat, corner 5 in Mazoe. The flat is still there, opposite the Palm Lodge. So for me, it can only be the grace of God. And nothing is impossible. Can you ask again your question?
So my question is, what has been your most memorable experience?
My most memorable experience is when I moved from cutting with this thing to buying buying machines from China. When our the late president, when he started talking about the Look East policy, and people were joking that China is like little Zimbabwe, because many Zimbabweans were flocking into China. That's when I also went to China and managed to buy almost 3 of my machines from using this small tool that I'm holding. So for me, yeah. Thank you.
Powerful. Tofara, what are the unique challenges that women face in the business world, if there are any?
Please come again.
What are the unique challenges that women face in the business world, and how do we overcome them?
Okay. I think it's evident that women have got so many support groups, just like the OldMutual Women's Network. I'm not sure if there's a men's network. So even if you go outside OldMutual, there are so many networks that empower women in different areas, in business, in career development. So I'm just going to talk about two problems that we usually face as business people. Number one, fear of failure. So this has limited a lot of women to becoming the best version of themselves, because we are so tied to what people will say after I fail. So I managed to overcome that fear by moving from the corporate world into the business world, which is not really stable, especially in Zimbabwe. But it was really worth it because I conquered that fear. And also the issue of balancing responsibilities. So when you're running a business, if you are starting like some of us, if you don't work, you don't eat. So sometimes balancing your responsibility as a business person and making sure you're a mother, you're a wife, you are an aunt, etc., it can be so taxing. But I think the communities that are there, I'm part of so many different women networks where I also get coaching and mentorship, and I've managed to sell through. I've been into business right now for about 5 years. So those are some of the challenges, but we can manage as long as we have a strong support system. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tofara. Isabel, back to you. From your experience leading a financial institution, are the challenges shared by your fellow panelists on stage unique? From your perspective, what are some of the solutions OldMutual is providing to address challenges faced by women, and where are the gaps?
Thank you, Arthur. Yeah, some of the challenges that I've heard from my colleagues are pretty much similar. And just to pick up on the point that Tofara was raising around a strong support network, I can never overemphasize the need for that. I think what is important for ladies is know what works for you in terms of a support network. I've got friends, I'll send my children out for a play date just for me to get some me time. I'll send my kids to my mom's place for the weekend because I needed time to relax and rest. So I think those support networks are very important, and we need to take advantage of those and keep them strong. You asked about what OldMutual is doing. I would spend a whole day talking about some of the initiatives that we've had to put together. One of the key challenges that we picked when working with women, especially those in the rural areas, is they're running viable projects, but they are not able to give you any collateral when they require a loan. Baba owns Mombe. Mai has a fowl run and a garden. She's doing very well there, but she has nothing to give you when you ask for collateral. So I think that's one of the key areas that has affected a number of our women customers in the rural areas. What we've done to address that is we've encouraged them, they already have working groups, we've encouraged them to borrow in their groups, and they co-guarantee each other. So that's one of the products that we offer under the microfinance business. Another gap that we also saw was around keeping financial awareness. And through the OldMutual Foundation and through the group, we have offered financial literacy to a number of women, some in the rural areas. So I think some of that support has helped us to create a customer who is a lot more aware of what's happening out there. Part of our training is also to educate them on other products that are available in the financial services system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Isabel. Now, talking about a strong support network, I've got hundreds of ladies looking at us right now. Instead of me asking the questions, I'd love to hear from them. I'm opening up to the floor. Are there any questions for the powerful ladies that we have on stage? Let's see a bit of energy. Yes, we've got a lady that's there.
Thank you. Where is the lady in question? Just raise your hand. Right.
Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing your journeys and your businesses and the work that you've done. It's really inspiring. My name is Anna, and my background is in communications. And I've realized that we have not done a lot in terms of amplifying, or rather really showcasing some of the advancements and the amazing work that women are doing in business. And I think it's really a matter of concern and conversations that we need to be having, especially with a lot of women in journalism and communication, to really amplify and showcase that women can do it. So my question really is going to all the ladies. It's around issues to do with corporate and social responsibility. And I would really love to know what concepts have you put in place in terms of your businesses? Because we know that in also running a business, there's also a mandate to be accountable to your community, to your environment, and also to the various young women and girls who will also be looking up to you. So that's my question, concepts around corporate social responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to take this one?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Anna, for that question. My organization is a small to medium enterprise. We have a staff complement of 26. Out of those 26, 14 are women. What we have done is when we take the women in, we actually train them on the skills that have to do with customs and excise, which is using the Ascuda system. We actually take them to the course through the Shipping and Forwarding Association of Zimbabwe, because we have realized that they're smart, they have the knowledge, but they don't really have the certification right. So we've taken it upon ourselves. If you're going to work at Charlie Stevens International, you're going to go through that course and we're going to pay for it. And it's worked very well. They become excited, they become knowledgeable of the industry, they know all the tariffs, they know them offhand. If they then want to study further, they can use it, obviously using their salaries, but that's what we've done as an organization. As an artist, I write books and I've done plays, and I've made sure that there's a play that actually Tatle, who's performing today, was one of the stars of the show. We've made sure that 80% of that production was women. I'd actually like to say also it was funded by OldMutual in 2019, and we went on to win a National Arts Merit Award. But this is all because of the support we've received from organizations like OldMutual.
Do we have another question? Also, for those who are watching online, please just send in your questions. We will be able to read them out. Anybody else with a question? Yes.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Valerie. And what I wanted to ask was, I think for a lot of women, before people actually get to appreciate what your capabilities are, you need to overcome the perceptions. She's young. How many children is she likely to have? How much maternity leave is she going to be on? She's got 3 little kids. How much school run time is she going to be taking? What is a lot of perceptions without actually getting to know the person, how they work efficiently, etc. How have you overcome that particular chapter? And then my second question is just on, again, for a lot of women, it seems just getting up there by yourself is the prize. To then bring everyone else along, for a lot of people, is a challenge. You would rather be the person. I am the one who made it. Who cares about the other women? As long as I'm in the limelight, it's all good. How are you ladies overcoming that as well? Thank you.
Most probably, before I respond to her question, I also wanted to add on from her question. So in 2021, she asked about corporate social responsibility. We launched a project specifically for women, which is called the Tech-Driven Entrepreneur Program. This is where me and my partner, we developed a curriculum for women to learn digital marketing for international trade, and it was a series of 8 modules. So what we we did was we put a nominal fee for every woman to be trained on that critical area, whether you're in business or career-wise. It's very critical for you to have that skill. And I've then realized that through the nominal fee that we put in there, a lot of organizations partnered with us. And not only that, we found ourselves being recognized internationally. And we actually won an award called the Digital Champions for Small Businesses, awarded by the International Trade Center, the World Trade Organization, and the International Chamber of Commerce. And the initiative was sponsored for 1 year by Google and Zoom. So some of the initiatives that we might do as corporates, where people will pay a nominal fee, the global organization is looking. And in 2022, the same program as well was recognized by the International Telecommunications Union. And I actually went to Switzerland, sponsored to receive an award as leadership in SMEs because of that impact that we are making in SMEs. So it is that is what we are doing. Then just to answer briefly on what she asked as well about the perception of people, when you want to grow either your career or your business, there's what we call mental tenacity. You need to have a strong mental state that is not very easily shaken by what people say. There are so many things that happen along growing your career or your business, but what will make you stand is your mindset and knowing your vision. What exactly do you want to achieve? I still remember back then in 2017 when I was speaking about Tofara Online as an organization that wants to teach people tech. A lot of people didn't understand why I'm talking about digital marketing then. And I had so many people saying this won't work. But come COVID-19, when people were closed, organizations closed, businesses were falling down, that's when we rose, and I realized that this is the dream that will make impact. So sometimes don't listen to people, get advice that you can use, but have that mental tenacity.
Thank you. I just want to respond to the question that when one has gone up, are you able to pull others with you? I can say, as Kay Devi, in my personal capacity, I've got a group of ladies that I move with. I believe more in a practical, not theoretical part of it. I'm sure we all know that our universities, yes, they've changed, but the results are not yet seen. They teach a lot of theory. And when you assign a university graduate to say, can you operate this machine? I am telling you, they will not be able to operate that machine. So there is less practical than theory. Our students, they to cram things, not to work using their hands. So I've got a group of women that I mentor. I've got a group called the Diamonds. These, they also run their own businesses as well. So it's like I coach you while you also go and teach others. And I've got, I'm sure some of you know about the Go-Getter movement led by Trisha Carter. I mentor that group as well. So it's not always, but the challenge that we get is the mindset that Tofara was talking about. Because if I invite you to say, come, let me mentor you, it's not for me to compete now with Kuda. I have to submit to Kuda because I want to learn more from Kuda. So the challenge that we have is with the younger generation, we call them AMA 2000, is they will be full of, I know, of the theory, not the practical. But what put food on the table is put your hands to use, not just your mind. But with Tofara, yes, it's your, thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. I think we'll take one more question and then we'll wrap up. Does anyone else at the back have a question? Hi, at the front, you are hogging the limelight. Yes, we have someone at the back. Sorry. Our final one from someone at least in the middle.
Thank you so much, everyone. My name is Privilege Nyahwa. I work for FECT Zimbabwe. I'm so grateful to be a part of this forum. First and foremost, I would want to thank OldMutual. Yes, they have come to the hard to get areas. They have been there in the Mutare at Chiadzwa, training young women and adolescent girls on financial literacy and money management. Now, my question that might not be necessarily for the panel is on how best we can help our greater parts. I know that we are here, but the bigger percentage of us, they are there at the rural areas. Yes, we have spoken of equality. Yes, they have got land. They are into the trades that men are doing. But how can we position them into the value chain? Yes, they are farming, they've got potatoes. But how best can we put them, can we position them so that they can at least enjoy, they can at least have better parts in the value chain? We want them to be the buyers. We want them to be the not just the producers, but to play a bigger role in the value chain development. So I'm saying, what is it that we can do so that the young women out there in the rural areas, in the marginalized areas, they become or they play the most important role in the value chain development? Thank you. Thank you very much for that very key question. I think this is one of the key pillars of the financial inclusion strategy, of the Zimbabwe financial inclusion strategy. And for us to succeed, there is need for all players to come together. If we ask one corporate to move in to solve the problem, I think a bit of a crisis. But what we need to do as a nation is to come together. There's need for government to put in the right policies to support some of these actions, and for private players to come in so that they can be buyers of these products that are coming in from the rural communities. What we've also noted is some of them produce without a market. How do we link them to that market? And some of them will have the knowledge of how to produce the small scale. How do we upskill them to produce more and better quality? So I think it's a very key comment. It's a very key question. From an OldMutual Finance perspective, what we have done is we have identified a few value chains that we have worked with. Some as far as out in Chimanimani, who do sugar beans. We identify a market for them. We provide funding. And in most cases, we also work with a technical partner who provides them with assistance on ensuring that they get the best quality from their produce. So imagine if we could do all those projects at a bigger scale, I think we can make an impact, but it requires quite a lot of support from various players coming together.
Thank you so much. I also wanted to go to the industrial, the rural industrialization policy of government. If we begin to venture into our rural areas, I think that we can now start talking in terms of Vision 2030, of our societies being empowered, of our societies being prosperous. So my question to you is almost related to FECT,
But I just want us to be focusing not on individual groups or communities, but really going to our rural setups and looking at the local economic development or the local economic activity or the resources that are endowed in those communities and say they have not been tapped into or we have not been doing it right. And then the big companies like OldMutual, the OldMutual Women's Network, comes into the begin to really integrate the setup and set up, proper businesses that will ensure that we employ and also that our women as well as men and youth go into, the value chain of those businesses. That's the first one. But the second one is that I also know that our room is full of, women, very successful women, including the panelists that have given us very inspiring, business, their setups, their business setups. I wanted to say that let us remember that there are those people that are at the micro level. A person that is looking to make a living, a person that is wanting to just, set up a micro business that allows them at the end of a day to earn, money to put food on the table. Naita $5 yangu. I want to go back home and be able to buy Millie Meal, relish, or I'm doing business. I would like to save for school fees. So my question to you is, how best can we go into these micro setups? And these are very loyal, small business persons. When you give them finance or when you train them or if you mentor them or if you sponsor them, I'm challenging you, ladies, to say, can you at least sponsor somebody that just wants a business, yet $10 per day to order, and that person with that $10, we know that some small businesses can earn them $15 for a day or $2. They've made 50% out of that business. Some are wanting $20, some are wanting $50, others are wanting $100. We go on up to about $1,000. The challenge is that, are we looking at those people? Yes, we want to create wealth, and this is the prerogative of this group that is in here. But let us also look at those people that are wanting to make a livelihood, and there's still so many of them. The tendency is to think of the poor being in a rural setup. It is not so. Go to our townships. Go to those Vanambuya that have been left with Vazukuru because of, the scourge, HIV, it wiped out, people that were able to work. And then you go to the rural setup. Yes, it's the same, but at least ikoko akudiwe kuti utange une dollar. We know that in urban setups, you have to start une kamari for you to be able to eat, for you to be able to carry on, with life. In a rural setup is better. You can in Nanga, at least you can go for the day. Mm-hmm. So the challenge is, what are we doing about those that are at the very bottom? They only need very small monies, but most of that money is not getting there either in an urban setup or in a rural setup. And I just want to close by saying that our women at that bottom are very honest. They will pay back. Mm-hmm. Our women at that, bottom pyramid will make you proud by ensuring that whatever business you would have grown or whatever business you would have started with them will continue to survive, because they have a mandate in the household to make sure that there is food on the table. Thank you so much.
Arthur, over to you.
Just to respond to you, Deputy Minister, when I spoke about what I do, I didn't conclude to say what is my business. I am into packaging. I can package anything. We do shoe boxes, pizza boxes, you name it. Any box you can think of, anything that you think of boxing, we can box it for you. Package it for you. Yes, thank you. Just to support what you were saying and what Madame was saying over there, that it cannot just be for OldMutual, but it needs partners who are in there and some who are here, because I believe that when OldMutual funds a project for 1, 2, 3, or 20 women, they expect these women who have been funded to also replicate themselves and fund others. And I had said earlier on, practical is what I'm after. So in this season, I'm sure we all know that yes, Lobels has been making biscuits, Charon's has been making biscuits, but there is a number of guys who are now making biscuits. About 5, 10 more companies, and we make boxes for them. So I'm sure in your database, you've got ladies from the grassroots, because it's not only those in the rural areas. Thank you for saying that. Even in Rugari, even in Mavuko, there are families starving. If you can say, just give us about 5 to start with, we do practical. To say the day that we celebrated Women's Day Kuda, we came up with this project and we mentored 5 in practical, not in theory. Just to give them something to start from. So I want to say we can start by giving them cases of biscuits to sell, because everyone can sell. Because it's just opening your mouth and azvidi qualification kutengesa. Azvina masters pakutengesa. So I'm sure from your database, you can give us 5. That will present back to Madame Kuda to say, we are moving with these. Then we'll see in 2024 where they will be. Thank you.
There is so much energy up here. I'd love this to go on and on and on and on. But wow, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding that I have is different than when I started. And I think it's clear, I was trying to put up a few elements just to summarize this. And what I have is, and also inferred from some of the research I was doing, is that I think it's clear that we need women who lift and build others. Women who will love and be loved. Women who live bravely, both tender and fierce. Women of indomitable will. And the reason is that women are full circle. And as we come full circle on this discussion, what I'm learning about women here today is that women have the power to create, nurture, and transform. And I'm also challenged that it's not about just the mindset, but about the courage and the boldness to act and to be practical. So there are 3 criteria that my wife gave me in the morning: listen, learn, and be inspired. And I would like to thank Isabel, Chieza, Kudzai, and Tofara. I'm inspired. Thank you.
Please give them an even louder round of applause as they exit the stage. Are you feeling inspired? If I come around and ask questions, you'll have answers for me? I love the confidence. Thank you, Arthur. Now, Arthur was not the only one who was learning. I was also learning. We've got questions online? They'll have to wait for my next panel. Okay, I can read them out. I can read them out very quickly. As we wait for that, we will, of course, be having a little bit of an entertainment break from Tahle. Now, just a few quick comments that came in online. We have Mutera Talent. Hello, everyone. Thank you to all the speakers. The session is top-notch, eye-opening, and educating. My name is Talent Mutera, watching online from Cabs Mutare. Please give Talent a round of applause all the way from Mutare. Now, Talent was asking if there have been any barriers faced by the ladies, and I think Kudzi answered that question, and I think also Tofara talked about a little bit about that. This is from the Teams platform. That's one of the platforms we're using to stream this. Some of them are also, I think, questions that we will then have to pass on to the next panel. But please do keep bringing in those comments, bringing in that feedback. We do appreciate you watching, even though you couldn't be with us today. You are still a very important part of our session today. Now, before we hand over to Tahle, who's going to give us a little bit of entertainment, I also learned a couple of things, and I'm wondering if I'm the only one who learned. So please also let me know. So from Isabel, I learned fearlessness. Did anybody pick that up? I'll ask you why. But I did pick up fearlessness. She mentioned how she got through her career line, and that takes a lot of fearlessness, not the absence of fear, but fearlessness in taking it up anyway, saying, I am afraid, but I will go forward and I will take that opportunity as it comes to me. So please give Isabel a round of applause for that. There was a fancy word you used, multi-what? Multi-what? Okay, that one that she said. But you know, there's a statement that you use, the jack of all trades is a master of none. There's actually a conclusion to it, but it's still better than a master of one. So while you can be a master of one thing, you still need those little extras that boost you and make you full, that make you whole, that add on to who you are and give you that balance. Because sometimes one thing can skew you one way. So you still need those extra sides to you that just give you a little bit of balance as a human being. So don't be afraid. If you are multi-potentialite, then embrace it as well. It is, of course, it's not for everyone, but there are those who have that aspect to them, and they should embrace it fully. Please give Chieza a round of applause for that new word as well. Kudzi. I think Kudzi was one of my favorites. Unashamed. Your journey will never be like her journey. It'll never be like my journey, but it's still yours. And the faster you learn to own it, the further it will carry you. So don't be ashamed of what you've experienced, whether it is a hardship, whether it is a joy, because there are people who are also feeling like, oh, I can't celebrate this. Who am I to celebrate this? Embrace every aspect, be unashamed of who you are, and run with it. That's your journey. That's your portion in life. So please give Kudzi a very loud round of applause as well. And Tofara, our tech adventurer, wow. Never thought she'd be in that space, and yet here she is, changing lives, taking young women with her as she goes. I think that in itself deserves a very loud round of applause. Not everyone has that tenacity. Now, you see, I did this with our panel, this first one. I'm going to sit down with the panel after Tahle, and I'm going to come around to you. Ndakupa a template, and you vote the template. Now you're silent. Suddenly the cat's got your tongue. But we have the template because we all want to learn. We all want to be part and parcel of this experience. Now, of course, please help me as we welcome our group CEO, Mr. Sam Matsekete, who has joined us. Thank you so much. Please give him a round of applause for coming through. He's decided he wants to hide in the corner, but it's fine. We see you. We see you. Oh, and by the way, very quick announcement. If you lost a phone, see me. I require proof. That is yours. But if you did lose the phone, seriously, please do come and see me. Now we'll just have a little bit of a break, a little bit of a breather from Tahle. Please give her a warm round of applause as she serenades us for a quick few minutes. In the middle.
I learned a thing or two. And one of the lessons I've learned from the amazing panel is love and tenacity. And I speak my stories through song. And the first song I'm going to sing for you is called Narini. Because in any community, for it to shine, there needs to be the presence of love. A love from a mother, a love from a sister, an aunt, a colleague. Narini. Narini, 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 oh yeah, narini, 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 oh hey. Listen, mon chéri, mon ami. Mombete Shosho, what are we? My love is deeper than the ocean, the river Nile. Through the 7 seas, I see you in my dreams, 'cause you're my lot, my found. You can do no wrong. Love me all night long, yeah. Ugandi shunguruta, Ugandi tendereza. No matter what they say, it's for narini, 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 narini. Narini, 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 oh, oh, you're the sun to my orbit, in need of my devotion. Stand was on me, please. The power you have over is this power invested in me. Oh, oh, no, no, no. Where you go, I will follow. Ndoto takura mitoro. There's no need for tomorrow, 'cause we only live yolo. Where you go, I will follow. Ndoto takura mitoro, ndoto takura mitoro. A round of applause for the band, ladies and gentlemen. The next song we are going to be singing for you. Oh, my bad. I've been cut short, but I'll see you later. Thank you.
Please give her a round of applause. Now, here's a fun fact about Tahle. She actually has a classical music background. You heard it, eh? Yeah, she was actually classically trained. Please give her another round of applause. All right, now it's a very quick moment that I'm going to hand over to Musa Manyika, who is from the customer experience desk, and he's just going to talk to us very quickly about the Old Mutual funeral services. Now, Musa, 2 seconds. Your time is up. Next. No.
Thank you, Candace. Good morning, ladies, and the few gentlemen in attendance. I can count them in my fingers. Good morning, Meshuli. Morning, Sam. Morning, Dr. Teresa. Right. My name is Musa, and I'm here to tell you that the rumors are true. Right. Just turn to your neighbor and tell them also it's true. Tell them it's true. Right. So last year, around July, we launched a funeral service policy as Old Mutual. That was generally exceptional in the market. But there have been rumors circulating that that policy we launched in July has now been revised and it's better. So I'm here to tell you that those rumors are true. And in April, we'll be launching our campaign. Let me tell you how it's been improved. How do you improve something better to make it exceptional? Firstly, when we launched our product, we had pricing model that factored in, firstly, adults below 65 and adults above 65. Are we together? Yes, so an adult above 65 would pay slightly less. But now as we go back into the market in response to the voice of the customer, we are saying it will be one premium that cuts across all ages. Yes. One premium, whether you're 23 and whether you're 96, you pay the same. And for example, the light plan, the entry level, but from the way you ladies are dressed, there's no one who will take the light plan. You guys are looking classic. The light plan, you're looking at a premium of $2.75. Chete. I presented this at our brokers and they gave it the term mutakunanja. $2.75 will give you a policy. It will give your mother, your grandparents a policy as well. $2.75. But the classic, you're looking at $3.25. But not only that, at Old Mutual, the other key value proposition is we know in our culture, some of us here have 2 or 3 policies to our name. Are we together? You possibly took a policy and someone took a policy and didn't tell you. Now, generally, if I write my treasurer and I put them under my policy, I'm not going to call him and say, right, Singape Old Mutual saying policy. No, we do not do that. And so at claim stage, you find that there are 2 or 3 policies to someone's name. At Old Mutual, we then say, in such instances, you can come to us and say, I will claim cash in lieu, and we will pay you 100% of the value you were supposed to get as a service. And for your classic, as an example, I don't have time, 2 seconds. You're paying a monthly premium of $3.25. In the event you come through and say, I want cash in lieu, your cash in lieu is $910. In fact, for the premium and the supreme, cash in lieu can be up to $4,000. It's our way of treating customers fairly and our way of saying whether you opt for the service, but you find that the service is being rendered by another service provider and you come through, we will still give you full and fair value. There are many other benefits. If you have a group as well, the rates for groups, for corporates, 20 and above are sweeter than this. In fact, for the light plan, can I tell you how much it is? For a group scheme, for your corporate, for your church, your burial society, your school, premium for the light plan is $1. So there is no reason why there should be people out there who can't afford a dignified send-off. We want to enable you to celebrate the lives of your loved ones. There are ladies who are amongst us in the advisory team. Financial advisors, are you there? Let me see, wave your hand. I'll invite you to stand. If you have questions about this policy, any of these ladies can assist you. Please stand. Any of these beautiful ladies can assist you. Can we see them? Yes, let's clap hands for them. They are available to assist you. And then we also have some representatives from our contact center as well, who are very key components of our client servicing team. Are they there? Can I see you please rise to your feet? Our competent and able, a round of applause for them as well. They are able to assist you. If you are a group as well and you want to come through, feel free to engage us and we'll come through and have a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Musa. Please give him a round of applause. All right. So now we're going to move on to the next part of our program, which is the second panel discussion. Now, allow me to call up my panelists. I am simply going to call them by name because I want them to introduce themselves to you. So please help me welcome up Linda Mariwande. You can be a lot more encouraging than that. Can go up and sit that side. And then my next one is Nelly Tiago. All right. And then my final panelist this morning will be Amelia Peterson. Please help me welcome Amelia. All right. Now, there's a microphone where you are sitting, Linda. Linda, I want you to start off by introducing yourself to us as you would like us to remember you from this day going forward.
I wasn't prepared for that. So my name is Linda Mariwande. I am the General Manager for OldMutual Life Assurance Company. And about how you want to remember me is, I think, passion. I think that describes me very well. And maybe fight, because I think I've got such a strong fighting spirit in me.
All right, thank you very much. Give her a round of applause. Nelly, same question to you. Please introduce yourself to us as you would like us to remember you from this day going forward.
I would like to be remembered as the Nelly Tiago. That's my grandmother's name, and they say I'm like her. I'd also want to be remembered by the women behind me, Mrs. Jabangwe, one of my mothers, and all the mothers that she represents.
All right, thank you very much. Amelia, it's your turn.
Thank you. I think I would like to be remembered today as the brave person who returned from the so-called diaspora. And every time people ask me, America, it annoys me so much because I believe in this country, and this country is amazing, and I've lived in 4 countries in my career, and I wouldn't be any other place today than right here.
Thank you very, very much. Now, Nelly, I'm coming back to you, and I'd like you to just tell us from your professional perspective what embracing equity represents to you and women in your sector.
Candace, you're naughty. You like free legal advice, right?
Yes.
So I'm a lawyer by profession, and it's such a difficult question to answer, but we live it every single day. We're constantly fighting to be heard, to be seen, to be respected. So what it means for me is to just be your genuine self, truthful, honest, and work hard. That's what equity means for me. Because I can want it to be given to me or handed to me, but I don't want it to be unraveled. It should be a permanent position in me. So hard work for me is equity. Genuine person, that's where I find my equity, and never afraid to ask questions when you don't know.
Please give her a round of applause for that. Amelia, I think I'm going to ask you the same question as well. All right, so embracing equity, what does this mean to you? What does it stand for when we look at you and the space that you occupy in business?
Yeah, so my primary job is I'm a country director for a global social enterprise. It's called Viamo, and Viamo stands for Via Mobile. And essentially what we've done about 10 years ago in Ghana, some really techie, smart guys came up with an approach through which everyone, government, private sector, NGOs, can reach out to the hardest to reach communities just on a basic Mbudzi phone, right? No high-tech digital, no computers, no internet, just on the basis of a basic mobile phone. So when you ask me about equity, for me, what really drives us towards an equitable world is where everyone has the information that they need to be successful, right? We're all sitting here, we're all on our phones, we've got information at our fingertips. But the Deputy Minister talked about the other side, right? The other people that are not in this room, the women in Mbare, the women in Chimanimani and Bohera and Binga, they don't have information right at their fingertips. And that's where the inequities come in, is that they don't have information. So I really am so inspired by the connection between equity and information. And that's why that's the work that I do personally.
Right, thank you very much. Now, Linda, for you, I'm going to ask you just some of the practical examples that you've seen in your line of work when we embrace equity. What are some of the practical examples of how to and why they work so well?
Thank you for that question. So I've seen that as we try to move towards gender equality, there have been so many initiatives, and ladies, women still remain there, and work is not a vacuum. So in the working environment, also be appreciative of that. I think my personal experience is at a very young age, I was in Asia, and I actually recruited a lady who was expecting something that I don't think would have happened at that time. But I didn't think that them being pregnant or expecting a child would stop them from their career. So we look at those things and say, in the interest of equity, let's provide the young ladies that we have the opportunities that they need, because we start from different spaces. So in my business in OldMutual, there's so many training courses or programs that I actually directed towards women. So last year, I think some young ladies, or I think some ladies in the business, went through a program called Unleash, because it appreciates the role of women in the leadership elements or the leadership skills that they require that are peculiar to women. Thank you.
All right. Now, when we talk about that, and you've given a very practical example of, sometimes at certain points you as a woman are hired or not hired simply because of elements that it's beyond my control. If I can give birth, well, I'm a woman, that's what I'm there for. But we also have these inequalities in our homes as well, and they do affect how we then grow as women, whether it be in business or as employees. Nelly, again, the advice. How do you handle such situations where you find that your support system is not giving you the opportunity to grow, the opportunity to thrive, the opportunity to be the best of what you possibly can be, and they don't realize that it's for everybody's benefit?
We were talking about that at our table and listening to everyone speak about the struggles that they've had. And I commented, I'm not saying that my life was perfect. My struggles were so different from the struggles that were shared today. And some people would look at me and view me as privileged, which is not so. But that's why I mentioned Mrs. Jabangwe. These guys were good at giving me the examples of how to have a strong support system behind you. So I won't cry, but I will speak about this. And you do have to have a team behind you. That's the only way you can survive. You must be honest about your challenges. And if it can't work, it can't. And I've had to give up a lot of the things that I used to consider fun, because that takes away from me also being a person in my community and having time for my family. So I've had to cut out the joy, if I can call it that. And at work, I do the same for the people that work with me. Those privileges that I got, I extend to others as well. It doesn't always work out. And I heard about the 50%, Mr. Mpofu, but I believe that that we should give our 110% in everything and be a master of as much as you can, as long as you're doing it 110%. So, the struggles are also different. We're also unique. We're differently shaped, and the solutions will be so different. But one thing that we all can't do without is having a strong support system.
Amelia, when we talk about these strong support systems, you've moved back from abroad, and that's also a readjustment in itself in life, and also realizing that systems that worked there will not always work here. How have you readjusted to that space where there's a lot of probably uncertainty, a lot of gray areas? How have you readjusted to ensure that you have the best foot going forward?
Yeah, thank you, Candice. I speak obviously from my personal experience. I think one of the reasons that I decided after 20 years to move back to Zimbabwe was the fact that we have support here. Yeah. Now, I think a lot of you, if not all of you, have siblings or close members of your family that live abroad. If you find somebody getting to the very top of their game in their careers abroad, that person is a rock star, because they are essentially fighting against that absolute lack of support. You have to buy support when you live abroad. When you live here, you have your aunts, you have your uncles, you have friends, you have people who, you suddenly have to appear in court at 9 o'clock. You have people who you can drop your kids off with, right? Our friends and family abroad don't have that. So for me, I would actually say that coming back to Zimbabwe and kind of readjusting to, the local context, of course, it had its own different set of challenges. But, when we're zoning in on the issue of support, absolutely, the support system here is strong. And one thing I would encourage, I think, with the women and the men, our brothers, uncles, dads in this room, one thing I would really encourage is, I think there's a key weakness that we have as women, which is we resist support, especially very powerful women in this room. And you're there. We can see you. Being supported is something that we somehow think will detract from how powerful and amazing we are. The fact yekuti nasi maida nakuya wakunosia mwana kumba kwe sister yako, sometimes we avoid doing that because somehow we think it disempowers us. Like we're not those amazing, beautiful, brilliant, highly empowered women that we are. Ladies, we need to reach out for support when we need it, right? We were sitting at the table and talking to the very learned Dr. Chirisa about mental health, yeah, right? Our mental health absolutely depends on it. We're here and we're privileged that we have that support system. And don't get me wrong, I know some of us don't come from close-knit families, but the support is there, whether it's paid or unpaid. If it's paid, it doesn't cost that much, right? If it's unpaid, even more brilliant, once in a while, gift them in some way. But as women, I think my message is learn to ask for the help that's around you. It doesn't detract from how amazing you are. You are brilliant, you are beautiful, you are smart, you are a rock star, but you need support. And without that support, or without reaching out to that support, that's when we start to see ourselves really not being able to function at that high level that we're expected to function or that we want to function.
Candice, can I be naughty?
Can you?
Can I be a little bit naughty?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So, when you talk about support, and I know all of you are going to introspect and look at me and wonder how the heck she could say that. But I'm about to. The other thing that is a problem, whilst I want all this support, because we've been having debates, so you're my friend now. The challenge that's also there is us, isusu. We speak badly about each other, even to our bosses and to the people who are supposed to be supporting us. We don't bring each other up. We don't celebrate the other woman. She don't bore, and I'll say it in Shona. If my sister's keeper is the one who's going and putting the biggest knife in my back. So that for me, especially in the workspace, has to stop. And if somebody comes with a problem, don't use it to get a leg up.
You know, I absolutely agree with that, because you will find that I'm talking to you and you're sharing your experience with me, and for me I'm thinking, okay, so how do I use it against you? And then after that so you're dealing with me, and then you still have to deal with the boys club. How do we get into that room? And Linda, I'm bringing this one to you. How do we get into that room when we've got all this resistance around us? But also, is it actual resistance, or is it self-perceived resistance? Is it actually there, or am I putting myself into this state of mind where I work myself into a frenzy and say, oh, I can't get into that room because it's a boys' club?
Okay, so I think that, to use your word, the struggle is real. So there is some resistance, but I also think that sometimes it's overplayed. And I think that we need to be conscious of our environment. When she did mention that when I look at myself, people think that I am privileged. There's that feeling, but I don't know why women think that I have to have a very sad history for me to then celebrate success. I make no excuses for my background. I didn't experience some of those things. I'm not trying to show off or whatever. I didn't. But I also faced my own challenges as a person that are unique to me because of my circumstances. But I think that sometimes we don't want to face reality. So I think honesty is important. And I think that being genuine is also important. I'm probably one of the most direct and whatever person that you have ever met. Well, she was my student, by the way. At some point in my life, I'm one of those jack of all trades. But yes, it is. But if you don't put it, I think the first of all is do what you have to do and do it so well. The world will notice. And I have worked in various roles and various places that I have no experience whatsoever. I think my career is just comes from a point where people look at maybe potential, and I get the support that I need. And then I also pick it up and say, I don't want to disappoint the people that are giving me this role. And I also challenge those ladies who get in that role to say, if you then get the opportunity, please make those people around you proud. Then when you walk into the room and there is that resistance, I think call it for what it is. I think address it. Don't pretend that doesn't exist, and do something about it.
Thank you. You want to add on to that, Nelly?
Because my world is a boys' club, unfortunately. I sometimes find myself being the only female in a board and surrounded by all these guys, and they'll be expecting me to, because I'm now shata, guys. So I would like to say I'm pretty. And so they don't expect much. So because of that, I make sure that I work hard and I learn what I need to learn about wherever I've been placed. And when I ask a question, it's not to be taught, it's to clarify what I've been trying to self-teach myself. Where I don't know, I get guidance. And I even have mentors, females and male mentors. And I try my best to behave like a lady. It's hard because being a lawyer, you just want to shout at everybody and fight for rights and all those things. So it is a boys' club, but just maintain the best you. Be a person of integrity. It's hard to in Zim to always follow the rules, but if you can, do that and tell no lies. We can bend the truth a bit, but don't lie.
Now, ladies, as we kind of just wrap up before I open to the audience for questions, and of course, if you are watching online, please do send in your questions so we can ask them now. I do want to find out from you. Linda, I think I'll start with you on this one. You go, you struggle, you carry out whatever. Candice has got 3 events in one day and she brings home whatever check she brings home. And tomorrow morning it's, we need to get the car fixed, because how do we manage our finances, guys? How do we get it done? We are struggling. I'm asking all 3 of you. I'll start with Linda, though.
I think that's a very...
Also, sorry, sometimes also sometimes.
Okay. Okay. That's a very difficult one because it goes on to relationships that we get ourselves into. I think relationships are a choice, girls. And I'm not going to give you advice to do anything but listen to what I'm not saying. You really don't have to live with your mistake. I think you need
you need to say it out and call it out. Have the conversations around that. I think we struggle sometimes to protect something that doesn't even exist. I think if someone continues to treat you like that, they definitely are not what you expected and what you should have. So I think that please take the fight and please protect what you have. As I think conversations are important in relationships. We're not talking about relationships here, but she put me on a spot. But try to fix it if you can. And if you can't, you know exactly what you must do. And then, besides opening a Swiss bank account, which she doesn't know, I must say that it's so sad, and really there isn't much time. But I've had experiences where some young people in my life would say, Auntie or Sissy or whatever, or my friend, can you keep this money at your house? Because if I keep it in my house, it will be taken. So it's a real thing. But please find a solution for that. Just reflect because of this question, think about it and do something about it. The second thing is about us. I do love my shoes, so I struggle with that. So if you know that you have a weakness, don't go shopping with your wallet full of money, because you will buy. But we do offer as OldMutual some financial planning lessons, and please register for those. We need to help you manage your finances. Now I'm selling.
Thank you, Linda. Nelly?
So for me, the first thing to do is to set aside money and save, right? So before touching your money and spending on anything, there's the tithe and your savings. That's me. And then after that, I work with what's there. But when it comes to actual planning, because we all plan tichitipane mari, but we also need to plan in the event of death or illness, right? So it's so easy for us to just ignore what's going on in the household, not try to find out, oh, Murumwangu, he does my side deals. What do those deals mean? Because if something happens, the money that you've been saving is the money that's going to be taken to pay. So you should find out, be a spy, keep that information close to your heart. But just know, okay, right? If it works out, yay. If it doesn't, potentially we may need to be dealing with this type of a situation. And also plan for illness, long illness as well. OldMutual can tell you about that. In the event of someone being unwell for so long, you still need money. So don't plan, I'll save. Plan financially for eventualities as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Amelia?
Yeah. So for me, maybe fortunately or unfortunately, I'm single, so my money is mine. But there are a couple of things I want to say about finances. First of all is please diversify your sources of income. Okay? I think this is a topic that's well known by Mazimba. You need to diversify your sources of income. I don't care, you're a director, country director, you're head of this, you're head of that, you're CEO. We all need to have diversified sources of income. And you're in the right room. There are connections here that you can make to make that happen. Number two is please have your financial planning, as Nelly just mentioned, for death. I think I've just realized it's all lawyers up here right now in this panel. But you need to have a will in place. Please, ladies, don't let stuff happen that has not been sorted out legally for your children, for your mother, for all the people that matter in your life now. And you're looking at me like, I'm this kufa anytime soon. But I'm sure all the people that you've lost in recent years totally shocked you, right? So those are the two things I would say. Diversify your sources of income. We have a big leg up versus our friends and relatives in the diaspora. Most people in the diaspora will tell you, Ndukushanda shift. They literally go to the same place in and out all day. They don't have bandwidth to think about any, side hustles or whatever you'd like to call them. But we have that opportunity in Zim. I think we just function at a much higher level when we're here on the ground. So use that additional, headspace that you have to be doing something, right? Don't count on having a salary. Kana salary chayo aikwani. So you need to be doing a whole lot of other things. And I think we are in an environment that allows us to do that. And then, of course, just to reiterate my second point, please do your planning for afterlife.
Thank you very much. All right. Okay. Now, as they answered this last question, I will ask Gladys, are you going to help me? Just to take the mic around. Just raise your hands if you have any questions for my panelists. Also online, if you need to, you can ask. We will take 4 questions. So if you do have questions, please just raise your hands so that she can come to you. Now, in conclusion, ladies, I do want to find out from you. You are all high achievers. Don't say no. We see you. We can see you. You are all high achievers. You want the best for yourselves. You want the best for your families. But as a woman in this whole rat race we call life, how are you striking your balance and remembering to take time to center who you are and just take care of you? Amelia, I'm going to start with you and then we're going to work our way down.
I need to be doing a lot more than I'm doing, but I think for me, faith is important and family is important. So I have just one child, a 13-year-old amazing little girl, and I've made it a law in my house that meal times, nobody touches the phone. And I make sure that even when I'm working from home, I give her a significant portion of my day, even if it means that I'm working at night. Guys, those little blessings that we put in our lives, they are a source of therapy. So, but when you're with them, you need to actually be with them. And that alone actually is really refreshing, at least for me mentally.
So I'm a mother of boys, and at the end of the day, I'm just relieved that the day is done. I don't even know how my day, all the things get concluded, but this is what I try to do. Wake up as early as possible, right? And try to get in some exercise. It makes your brain wake up. It gets you to meditate and focus with our Creator. So just at 45 minutes an hour, then off to school run, isn't it? So I wake up early and I sleep late. We only need 6 hours of sleep, don't kill me, maybe even 5. But during the day, I do list everything I need to do in order of priority. And the things that are so important, I call them the tomatoes. Those are the ones I do first. And the smaller things, I call them the rice, which I do later. So I try to do as much of what's on my list.
I even ask?
Yes.
Why tomatoes and why rice?
Rice fits in anywhere, so I can do it at any time, even send emails while we're waiting to be called up by Candace. Tomatoes need me to dedicate time and space for them, right?
Oh, so you learn every day.
So I did a couple of tomatoes before I came.
Well done.
Yeah. And then to write stuff down. I'm not crazy. I forget to write stuff down. And then finish your list. If you don't finish it, make sure that by Saturday you finished it. And Sunday, do not work. Be with family. So that's my rule. That's how I work.
Thank you. So for me, I will start by declaring that I'm a mess. And the balance just doesn't balance all the time. And there have been times when I wonder, what exactly am I doing? And I just have to convince myself that you got this. So because I acknowledge that that's a problem, I try everything. I've read the 5 a.m. Club and tried to follow it. I've read the monk who sold this Ferrari. And I've read and read again Atomic Habits to just try and order my day into some logic. All I can say is try to put some order in your life that can help, because you work, probably for most of us, a normal day that says 8 to 5, you must be doing ABC. And pickup is exactly child pick up at a particular time. And certain things have to happen at a given time where there's a bit of flexibility built around it. And be conscious so that you don't drop that much. But something will drop, so don't feel bad. There are times when you just can't be super mom. It just doesn't work. And I will just reiterate the whole idea about strong support systems and invest in them. They don't just come by themselves. Identify your support structure and then try to build. If you can do anything about those maybe broken relationships or weak relationships that you can actually solve and sort out, please. It's not fashionable to say I don't talk to my sister. We make sure that it works, because for me it saved my life. When I went away for some assignment, my sisters were around, and I could do that because my sisters were there. And I could not afford to say I don't talk to my sister. And if, of course, supportive partners, supportive husband, please also nurture that. It will help you strike that balance, because alone, it's almost impossible. So it is difficult, but doable, but invest in it.
All right. Thank you very much, Linda. All right, now in the interest of time, we are just going to take two very quick questions, which I hope my panelists will also respond to very quickly. Okay, we can take the first question, and please let us know if you're directing to everyone or to someone specific.
I'm directing to the entire panel. My name is Majita, and the question that I have is more on imposter syndrome. So I noticed that all of you are corporate girlies, and my question is, how do you deal with imposter syndrome in trying to figure out if you should be an entrepreneur or you should stay in the corporate space? I hope my question makes sense.
Okay, who did you say you're directing to?
The entire panel.
All right,
Yeah.
so Ga.
Quickly, I can say, I don't think, well, personally, I didn't always have it figured out, which is why I say and I proclaim that I'm a jack of all trades. But I think sometimes just find out what your strengths are and feed on those strengths. It's very difficult to do something that you don't have or you're not wired for. It just makes life a whole lot complicated. So understand yourself and see where you fit in and actually be deliberate about it. And that will help you choose what you need to do. My understanding of imposter syndrome is probably a feeling of inadequacy in what you do. Like I said, I got into roles that I wasn't prepared for. You study, you learn, you get mentorship.
Thank you.
And taking from that, not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. I like my job. I like the stability and security of it. So my side hustles are not ordinary side hustles. So don't always think that you have to have a specific side hustle. It might not be called a side hustle, but it is. Then find your additional income doing other things if you can.
Maybe I'll just really quickly give an example of imposter syndrome, maybe for those who need an illustration. About 10 years ago, I was straight out of law school, graduate law school, and I had my very, very first international job. And I was in Cross River State, Nigeria, meeting the governor of Cross River State. And those of you who know Nigerian government or governance, their governors are very powerful people. It's like meeting the president of Nigeria. And I just remember sitting in that lobby waiting to meet Governor Imoke, and saying to myself, do these guys know I literally just graduated from law school? I have no right to be here. I have no expertise, and I'm just an imposter, right? So that's imposter syndrome. But ladies, the only thing I can say is I don't think my boss would have sent me to Cross River State if they thought I wasn't ready. So whatever aspect, whatever sphere you're in, whatever the level, in terms of, high-level engagement, engagement on the ground, you are prepared for it. If those above you have sent you out to do it, step into it. Be bold, be courageous.
Thank you. Our last question.
Thank you. This is directed, I think, to all of the panelists. My first question is, do you think...
One question, not two.
They are intertwined.
One question, not two.
Okay. The question is, do you think there is a world that will exist where we don't have to talk about gender equality or gender equity? Is there ever going to be a level playing field? Because I'm asking this, maybe you can give us suggestions on how we as women or mothers or aunts can actually better prepare the future generation. How are we raising our girls? How are we raising our boys to overcome this existing situation? Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't think in our generation or our children's generation, gender equality and equity will be achieved, right? I think what we're doing is taking baby steps. I think talking about it, having these kinds of gatherings, developing males as champions. I might be off topic in responding to the question, but I'll just quickly say it and then pass on to my other panelists here. If you do have sons, please develop them as champions for women. Don't just smother them with love and put them out into the world as entitled kings. Put out men that are servant leaders, men that seek to see and find out ways in which they can raise up women to be the powerful woman that you are. Yeah? So that's my only response to that.
And then I come with a different perspective. Being a mother of boys and seeing all these amazing, strong women coming up and wondering how my boys are going to be able to match this. So for me, the discussion at some point has to be about, both of them, the boy and the girl child. Otherwise, we're going to now go to boy rights after we're done with the girl rights. So we need to just treat everyone equally. I wouldn't want, if I had a daughter, I wouldn't want her to be married to a weak man. But if we don't address, the men, they will be weak and there will be no one for that daughter. Yeah.
I do agree with the previous speakers on addressing our sons. And I think the term that I use is, let's change this one son at a time and one brother at a time. And even your friends around you, just be intentional about having this conversation. Whether it will happen in our lifetime, I don't think so. In fact, it will not happen. But I think we need to take the steps that are necessary and needful to get to the point that we need to get. Because I think, like what she says, I have adult sons. My boys are all adults. And I also have got younger brothers. And the conversation that's coming there is that I can feel that the boys are actually beginning to feel discriminated against. And I don't think that was the intention. We were talking about equality, not weaker men and stronger women. And so we also need to prepare our sons for empowered women, because they don't know how to deal with that. You can now see that men are beginning to act up, doing some funny things to prove that they are men. They don't have to. Because also maybe as girls we've picked up incorrectly what it means to be an empowered woman. I think we must understand and define this correctly for both genders. And I hope that in our next event, Kuda will have just as many women in this conversation, because if we keep talking in closed doors as women, we are just talking to ourselves and echoing to ourselves. So the more men we get into the conversation, I guess the better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, could you give my panelists a very loud round of applause? Thank you very much for your time and your insight. I think I can allow you to return to your seats. And of course, as we exit the stage, I would like to call up Dr. Sacrifice Chirisa just to talk to us a little bit and, just help us hopefully also understand how to find that balance we don't always succeed in finding. So please welcome up Dr. Chirisa with a very loud round of applause. And this is the session that I suggest you take notes. I will have questions afterwards.
All right, thank you. Put your hands together for the Director of Ceremonies. What a stunning job. All right, so I'm standing between you and your lunch. So I will not take too much time, but let me first honor our Deputy Honorable Minister, Dr. Mtlanga. Thank you so much for coming. And the Group CEO, Mr. Masekete, it's good to see you again. We were together when they came to our place a few weeks ago. And to my brother Mpofo, thank you for that speech. And I also want to recognize one of our own from our own company, a lady who is power as well, Tapu Amazani. She's our Chief Executive, Chief Financial Officer. Yeah, from Simas, where I come from. So I just here to recognize her. In fact, she's making it should be easier because at least there's somebody that I know. Your office is next to mine. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing here. I don't know which hat I'm wearing. I'm a pastor. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm a medical doctor. I'm also the GM at Simas. And so I like what the previous speaker talked about, being a multi-potentialite, and I think it also works to guys. And the reason why I'm saying that, I just want to say something before I move to my topic of the day in a few minutes, that do not let your certificate on the wall determine who you are. You are much more than that piece of paper. And so I'm proof of that. I used to be in an entrepreneur. Then I was brought into the to become the GM of SIMAS, right from the entrepreneur. I didn't have the qualifications. I was probably the most unqualified guy, but what I had was the practical. So I liked the practical bit. That was good. And I always want to say this: you must excel at your present assignment, because somebody's watching you and they're making a decision whether to hire you or to promote you. So don't say, I'm going to start working when I'm there. Start working where you are now. All right. Okay. So today I'm going to speak to you about mental health. So I'm going to put my psychiatrist hat. And the reason why I'm talking about mental health today is that mental health is something that we don't want to speak about, especially people of our skin. We don't want to speak about mental health. Now, WHO says 1 in every 4 adults need to see me. So now somebody is starting to count and say 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So I will do this and say, after my talk, I will be seeing all the people, all the ladies that are here. I will not charge you co-payments for the next 2 weeks. If you confirm that you were at on that, and so no lying, please. Okay. Now 1 in 4 adults has got a mental health problem. Now, when we talk about mental health problems, the reason why most of you don't want to come and see me is because the person that comes to mind is that person that we all know that is in the middle of the street walking against the flow of traffic, who has not taken a bath for 300 years, and that's your idea of mental health. But mental health is much more than that. It has got over 450. How many? 450 different diagnoses. And some of them include not sleeping enough hours. 5 hours are too little, dear. Nearly 5 hours are too little. They are too little. If those are the hours you are sleeping, you need to come and see who? Me. Yes. All right. So I'm going to talk about what I call the common mental health disorders. So mental health disorders are divided into 2. Number 1, the major ones are the ones that we usually take our people to annex. And then there are the minor ones where people are actually at work, kind of like coping, but you do not punish something wrong. You know there's just, you can't tell it, but you know there's something. Yes, and that's what we call common mental or minor mental disorder. You're so functional, but something behind the scene, something is working. And I want to talk about 2 of them today, and one of them is depression, and the second one is anxiety. Now, depression, it affects 20% of the women. So it's a major thing. How many percent? How much percent? 20%. So 1 in 5. That's a huge figure. And in men, it's 1 in 10%. Men tend, obviously, to then take drastic measures. So they tend to kill themselves more than women. So that's why we've seen in the past few months, a lot of men killing themselves is probably driven by depression. What is depression? Depression is a mood disorder. A mood disorder. It's how you feel. And it affects how you think. It then affects how you act. And I am sure some ladies on every table, they have cried. The toilets are really crying rooms. Yeah, and you go, and that's why you find a lady and you ask, how are you? I'm okay. They look strong, but they are crying. And sometimes that crying is inside, it becomes bitterness. And bitterness is like you drinking poison trying to kill somebody, but it kills you. And so I am saying that there's no need for us to suffer from things that can be treated. You can either increase your appetite or you decrease your appetite. 75% will decrease appetite, so they'll lose weight in 2 weeks. They'll lose weight and they'll start to change 5% of their body weight, or increase. 25% will comfort eat. They'll have loss of interest. You're like pulled out of the bed. You don't want to go to work. You wake up in the morning and say, morning, and it takes you 15 minutes, one leg down. You know you are depressed. You need to come and see who? Oh yeah, yes. And sometimes you've got feelings of hopelessness. You feelings of guilt, feelings of unworthiness, self-blame. And you can have suicidal ideas. And sometimes people don't have suicidal ideas. They have what we call ideas of death, where they say, I wish I was dead. I wish I was not born. I wish I would just sleep and not wake up. And when you are like that, you definitely need to come and see me. Now, the second one is anxiety. Anxiety has to do with fear of the future. So you fear, you're just anxious. And it's like, I usually say you're like a computer which is not able to close its windows. Every time you're like thinking. You're thinking about your fridge, thinking about your clothes, thinking about your company, you're thinking about work, you're thinking. You can't picture where you're thinking about everything and you say, you're anxious. You need to come and see me. And anxiety is even more than depression. It affects 30% of the population. So if you are going to be honest with us, ourselves, we need to elevate our conversation on mental health, because we are suffering, yet we are looking good. We are suffering in our stolitos. We are suffering in our suits. We are suffering in our churches. We are suffering in our departments. And I'm just here to say, let's normalize the mental health conversation. Let's normalize seeking treatment. With those few words, I thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Doc, before we let you go, now you've rightfully said that we are suffering in silence. And why do you think it has become so widespread that you go through it and you go through it alone?
So it has to do with the stigma attached with mental health. And it has to do with our historical thinking. But one of the most important things which I've seen is that everything that we could not understand, we had an interpretation. Manep, Kuroiwa, and things like that. And because that's still our interpretation of mental health, no matter whether we are doctors, we are accountants, we are lawyers, we still interpret it the same. Especially in our nation, either Manepo or if you are a Christian, Madimon. And because nobody wants to be labeled that, you rather suffer hidden. So we need to destroy the stigma. And I always say that mental health is a medical condition, just like your diabetes, just like your arthritis. It can be treated, and we need to treat it.
Thank you very much, Doc. I will be booking my session after I take my mic. Now, please, can we just welcome Theodora to talk to us a little bit about On the Money? Please welcome her, and hopefully this will cheer us up a little bit more. Theodora, I think I'll give you 10 minutes. 10 minutes, fine.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
In other quarters, they know me as the woman who loves the microphone, so I have to time myself. Once it rings, 10 minutes, I'm going to sit down. So I am here to talk about something that's been referred to since morning. You've heard the term on the money. Say to your neighbor, on the money. On the Money is a program that is run by OldMutual as part of their practical efforts at embracing equity. They realize that not everybody in Zimbabwe understands the value of money. We've gone through many different currencies, bond notes, bearer checks and everything, and most of us struggle to then fully ascribe the right value to money we hold in our hands. For the last 9 years, we've been running this program all over Zimbabwe. We've gone down to Mbire, to Boterekwa, everywhere. We run it in boardrooms, we run it in the fields, we run it in churches. You can invite us into your homes. As long as you can bring a crowd of people to sit together, I'll come through and we'll teach them about Own the Money. So this is what you learn. Basically, there are 7 lessons that we give you, which it's a full day program, but I'm going to compress it into 7 minutes. It's very easy to remember because it's based on 7 animals, and you're not going to forget what I tell you today. The first 2 animals, which are birds, represent what we call poor money management behavior. The reason why many of us do not have money and are not wealthy today is because we exhibit poor money management behavior, as shown by 2 birds. The first one is an ostrich. An ostrich is a very large bird, very strong, and it's well known for protecting its young. But guess what? There's something funny it does. When it feels overwhelmed by the issues of life, it buries its head in the sand. Now, the head of an ostrich is not even as big as mine. It's only less than 5% of its full volume or full weight. And yet, when danger comes, it thinks when it buries its head in the sand, it's dealing with the problems. Well, some of us sitting here looking at me, we exhibit ostrich behaviors. How do we do it? We get into money situations that we are not able to confront. When things seemingly overwhelm us, we bury our heads in the sand. For example, we tell people that my WhatsApp crashed and I lost your number because you didn't want to own up that you were owing the money. Some people even move to relocate a whole family from Tungwiza to go and live in Kwadzana because we are running away from debt. That is an example of burying your head in the sand. Some of you even bury your head in the sand like an ostrich and refuse to go and see Dr. Chirisa for your mental problems, and you end up committing suicide. That is a way of burying your head in the sand. You have money issues, you don't want to come to us, the financial experts, to help you, and you bury your head. The second bird is a peacock. We all know that a peacock is beautiful, like we are looking today. It's very colorful. But guess what? It has a problem in that it is a show-off. It knows it's beautiful and it wants everybody to see it. I'm sure you've gone to a bird sanctuary. Sometimes a peacock will be like that for minutes, and then when it thinks you're done with it, it goes prrr, and then it shows you off other colors. Many of us are like peacocks when we get money. Very flashy. We want everybody to see it. We want to be the last ones to walk into church so that you all hear my heels and you see what I'm wearing today. We do not want to go to a wedding or a function with a dress we wore before. We want something new. We end up borrowing, and we have loans and debts everywhere. Then when we struggle to pay them back, we start off being a peacock, we end up being an ostrich, and then life ends there and creates problems for our families. So at OldMutual, we teach you that you do not need to be an ostrich or a peacock. Rather, there are 5 animals, which are the big 5, which exhibit good money management behavior that we teach you. I'm sure we all know the big 5. Can we shout them out? Any? Lion, yes? Elephant? Rhino? Leopard? And the buffalo. So I'll start off with the lion. The way God created lions is that the lion that goes out to hunt, when it brings in the catch home, it's not like a typical Zimbabwe African woman who wants to feed the kids first. The animal that has gone to hunt and bring the catch in is the one that eats first. That is a very good thing that we at OldMutual teach you to emulate. The reason why it eats first is because perhaps it spent 2 days following up on prey and is now tired and exhausted, even injured. If it gets home and allows the kids to eat first, it's going to die and not be able to go again tomorrow. So it has to eat first so that it restores and renews its energy. It recharges its batteries in order to go out tomorrow and hunt hunt again. So we encourage you that you, as the breadwinner in your home, whatever income you earn, make sure you eat first. You copy the lion in eating first by saving. So we say the secret of the lion is on saving. Before you spend your money, every dollar that comes into your life, make sure you set aside the saving first. The brain is wired in such a way that the first month you say, I earn $200, I save $20. Second month, I earn $200, I save $20. Third month, your brain will tell you that you earn $180. You've already removed the saving. So the secret of the lion is on. The second animal is the leopard. Now, the leopard was created in such a way that it doesn't walk on the grass when it wants to hunt. If I take a seat here, the people at the back, I cannot see you. But the leopard goes up on a high level, usually a tree branch, so that it can see a wider area, even up to 5 kilometers. And when it does that, it's a very calculative animal. It does it slowly. It scans a wider horizon. It's looking for its prey. When it then decides on the prey, it knows that if it comes down slowly, the prey will run away. So it would then run very fast and execute immediately. So when you talk about the secret of the leopard, it's about having a powerful financial vision that guides you. When you're setting the vision, do as much due diligence as you need to, research as much as you can, find out what kind of vision you can have that is commensurate with your earnings. But when it comes to execution, do it speedily and make sure that you always refer back to the financial vision and plans to guide what you're doing. So we say the secret of the lion is on what? And the secret of the leopard is on what? Vision, having a powerful vision. The third animal is the elephant. The elephant is well known for having a very powerful memory. It never forgets anything that happens to it. Guess what? You and I are not elephants. Even if you are not an elephant, you can't have that specific memory, excellent memory. So we encourage you to sharpen your memory by the power of budgeting. If the secret of the lion is on savings, the secret of the leopard is on a vision, then the one for the elephant is on budgeting. Budgeting allows you to write records, keep records, record everything you do. Remember, you have a financial plan like a leopard, you're saving like a lion, and then as you're budgeting, you're tracking and seeing, am I doing correctly? Every month you're checking how much money is coming into me, how much income do I make, and then how much am I churning out, how much am I paying as expenditure for living my life. When you do that, you balance the two. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are short, taking a loan is the last thing you should ever do. It's the last course of action you take. You first of all, you downsize, you replace, you reuse, you make sure that you look within first, see where you can cut off some items so that you can stick to your budget. Always make sure you track your budget. You can do it monthly, but also annually towards the end of the year. Don't wait to mention the name appraiser only when it's your manager appraising. You do a self-appraisal yourself. How did I do in the year? What was my goal when I started? Did I stick to it? Did I follow my budget? What new goals can I set for the coming year? So the secret of the elephant is on what? We go to the fourth animal, which is the rhino. Many Zimbabweans are living in debt. Never say andite zvezvikwereti if you own Zesa or Zinwa. Zvikwereti izvozvo. So the secret of the rhino is this. When a rhino is well known for being a very peaceful animal, but once it's threatened, it can charge very angrily. So we encourage you that never be nice and soft with debt. Don't treat debt like it's something simple where you just say, I'll try to come out of debt. I'll see what I can do about. No, you need to be angry. You need to be passionate. You need to have a financial plan and a vision to come out of debt. List down all the debts you have. Start with the one that threatens you the most. Have a budget for you to track how you're reducing your debt every month. And then like a rhino, charge aggressively. Deny yourself certain pleasures. There's something we call delayed gratification. It's not everything we want in life that we must get today. Sometimes we need to delay the gratification we want so that in the end we are debt-free, and whatever income we get after being debt-free truly belongs to us. So the secret of the lion is on what? The secret of the leopard is on what? The secret of the elephant? The secret of the rhino is on managing debt. The last animal is the buffalo. The buffalo is an animal that is well known for its patience. You never see it in the bush or in the field on its own. They move like a herd, sometimes as many as 200 in one place. Their protection comes from being many together. Are you aware that a lion can only subdue and overpower one buffalo? But when there are 5 or more, the lion is afraid of 5 buffaloes because together they have a lot of strength. So at Old Mutual, we encourage you. My timer has gone up. I'm rounding up in a minute. We encourage you. Let your money achieve a unity accord and grow in abundance. The more your money grows, the more protection you get from tomorrow. If you have $100 at the beginning of the year and you place it under the pillow or in your piggy bank, on 31 December, it's going to be $100. But if you take that $100 and you call up Musa and you ask him to invest it for you, it's going to grow. And like many buffaloes that can subdue a lion, it will also protect you tomorrow when danger comes. So the secret of the lion is on what? The secret of the leopard, the secret of the elephant, the secret of the rhino, the secret of the buffalo is on growing your wealth. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Theodora's like a hybrid. She's a blend between a teacher, a public speaker, a motivational speaker. Sure, please give her another round of applause. When I grow up, I want your passion. Did she not make sense? Did you learn? How many birds are in this room? I'm an ostrich. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost at the end of our program. So please, at this point, help me welcome up our Group Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Sam Matsekete, as he just rounds up today's session for us. Please give him a very warm round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Candice. And may I just recognize Deputy Minister, Dr. Mhlanga, and thank you very much for being here amongst us. Madam President of the Old Mutual Women's Network, Kudakwashe. And I need to say it in full, isn't it, when it's protocol. Kudakwashe Mswaka. And everyone that's here present. I am so delighted that we have this opportunity here at Old Mutual and today, where we are actually demonstrating one of the values that we uphold in Old Mutual. So there are a number of values that we uphold. Maybe I should talk about 2 that are relevant to this occasion. So the first one is we talk about diversity. And in the true sense of diversity, it means that we achieve more if we are together, but we achieve even more if in that togetherness we harness our differences and give space to our differences so they can contribute in their uniqueness, because that uniqueness in combination achieves more. The second value that we uphold is respect, and it talks about each and every member of Old Mutual as colleagues, occupying space, positions, and a role that must be recognized in its individuality. It must be recognized in its value, and it must be respected in its contribution. That means regardless of who we are, in those 2 spaces or between those 2 values, Old Mutual Women's Network is trying to encourage the women amongst us, colleagues in Old Mutual, that the channel is open, the space is created, let's occupy it. There will be respect to meet with it. There will be the respect to inclusion of your views to meet with it. And that is the 2 things that I say in Old Mutual. Through Old Mutual Women's Network, let's continue to drive that same thrust. So Nelly spoke. Nelly is one of my mentees, so I can mention it here from long back. Nelly spoke about, how in our interactions in this way, we must start to also think about what does it mean for the girl child, for the woman, and what should it mean for the boy child, for the man. I think that if I was to say something for the women in here, is to say in all of the efforts, in pursuit of equity, in pursuit of equality, let's not lose our uniqueness. Because in your unique circumstance and condition, in your unique attributes, you are best set to achieve your purpose. I have seen, even amongst men, where we create groups, and in trying to belong to a group, the men lose their identity. They start to be directionless because they're trying to be the next person. They are trying to be at the stage where they are not, running ahead of themselves. That becomes a new complication. And let's of what value resides in your uniqueness, because there you achieve much better alignment to achieving your purpose. Those were the two things that I thought I would speak about. But in OldMutual, we do promote, through the OldMutual Women's Network and through other interventions, equal space, equal access, opportunities being availed to everyone of same attributes, similar attributes, competencies, and we would like to continue to demonstrate that. I now come to my assignment. Honorable Deputy Minister, we would like to thank you. You spared a whole morning. She came early. I was going to another function, and Kuda said, you can actually come because the Deputy Minister is here. It's only that it was now just perhaps 15 minutes before my next function. Now, that's probably an attribute you might say, I would like to believe, is about you and how you do things. And we would like to thank you for setting aside time, being here early, and saying, I will be with the other women. Thank you very much. I think a round of applause is deserved. I would like to thank all that you came with from the ministry. Our quest is to always explore what else can we do to make sure that we can be relevant to your agenda and to make you succeed. So even beyond this, do not be shy to call on maybe Kuda or anyone, all of us here from Mutual to say, what can we do together? Because we think that there are areas we can work together. I am now going to request that maybe you come up front. I think there's a token of appreciation. If there isn't, then it will come, right? Thank you, Candice. No, I had seen it. Thank you. It's a token I've been asked. Dr. Mhlanga, Honorable Minister, I need to mention two things before I hand over this. Do you see how brand compliant she is? Yes. No, thank you very much. This is just our token of appreciation. And I think we need to do it properly for the camera as well. So, which means... All right, thank you very much. Now I hand back the program to the OldMutual Women's Network. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So please give him a round of applause. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, it has, I hope, for all of you been an amazing morning. Did you enjoy yourselves today? Yes. Gentlemen, you are quiet. Why? I said ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen, did you enjoy yourselves? Did you learn with us? Do we have any ostriches among you? If we do, please go and see Dr. Chirisa. We have come to the end of our program, well, the formal part of our program, rather, for this morning. After this, you are allowed to just network, get to see friends you haven't seen in a while, or meet those you haven't met. But before I say goodbye, there's a surprise for you. Can you guess? You can't? That's not a surprise, it's here. Anzi's saxophone, it's not the sax, but you're in the right direction. No, you can't guess. Let me make it better. We have a surprise artist for you. Hansi Beyonce, guys. That would not be a surprise. I would not be able to keep that. All right, so we do have Takura coming to perform for you. And as he sets up, allow me to say thank you for having me today. It has been a pleasure hosting you. My name is Candice Mwakaliele. Be kind to each other, but be kinder still to yourselves. Have a great, great weekend. Also, just a reminder to our speakers, please don't disappear before you come to this table specifically. We have some little nice bits and pieces for you. Just nice little things.
People, baby, don't know how I would have made it. We've been through the ups and downs, my love, but you never ever gave up. All my friends thought I was crazy when I said I want a baby, someone I could spend all my life with, someone who's gonna be my best friend. That's why I say I'll never ever let you go. Maybe I'll never ever let this go. Come in between the two of us. It's only gonna be the two of us. No, that's why I say Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe, you've been there right from the beginning. You've been there right from the beginning. Happy Women's Month. You guys look beautiful. If you know some of these songs, please sing with me. One time, say what? One time, you don't even know what it feels like when your skin tight. Don't go, please stay here tonight. Cause it feel like, why you so shy? Don't go, baby, don't leave me tonight. Ain't nobody else but my baby as a baby. Wakandida ukandibulira do. Unondibata sizaire kuno. Cloud nine, I'm on top of the world. Wakanesa vesta toadira ho. Let me be the one and you can be the boss. One time let me love you, long time let me love you. We say, Maimana, Dematomiga Sasa. What? Apana Guamchainga, say, Dematomiga Sasa. Apana Guamchainga, Maimana, say, Apana Guamchainga, Maimana, Apana Guamchainga, Maimana, Apana Guamchainga, Maimana. your man. Would you let me light your candle? Stay down, stay down, stay down. So they can keep talking, they can say they lie. Sing it with me one more time. Let's go. We say, yeah, my big size. What? Say, my mana. Again, happy Women's Month. This is my last song before I leave. I had to unplug it so you guys can sing with me, okay? If you know it, please sing with me. It goes like this. Thinking now love is not going nowhere. You're thinking about it. Ndokudane moyo wangu wose. And that's all that. Chimbonzwa chimbochanda kunyorera. Tukutamto zinyarara. Tiri vanu venyama tichanyewa. We say please don't. What? Chero tikambokonana ndezvedu nyaze vanodana nasipu zvemakuwa ndezvavo chero vakatitaura zvanetsa ndibvunze zvekukudzirwa musha ndibvunze. You say what? Iwe maishora vanoshora zvenyu what? Dzimwe nyaya dzanorondo dzimwe dzenge dzanorondo ndati ndiwe maishora vanoshora zvenyu. I'm gonna do one last. What do you want to hear? I don't have it on here though. I have something else. Listen. Anzina Maya. I like that. Anzichi. Kwaito Bonzina Maya wako. Anzina Maya. Anzi Maya wako. Anduri Zairabo. Busy telling friend yao. Imagine telling. Imagine in the bed yao. Canada darling. If I tell you you're the one, then you better know you are. You know this. Nobody can do me like you. Nobody's gonna do me like you. You're driving me crazy. That's all go right on the road. Your whole family thought that jamba. Kujamba, little bit of cash on my play to sambo. My one who don't show them. Eat tight. Yes, and now my wago. And now my wago, you have it. Jogina my wago taibi Zati Anzina my wago Anzi my wago Anzuri Bibi telling friend yao Magic telling friend yao Magic telling friend yao. Thank you guys so much.
paying attention to documents you may need to submit. Make sure you read the terms and conditions and complete all 5 steps, leaving no blank spaces. Remember to finish your application before the deadline on the 7th of April 2023 and follow 8 to 5 Innovation Hub on social media for updates on VCC3.
Convenience in many ways on one platform. Welcome to mine. OldMutual is great. Insurance, investments, just and banking. OldMutual is great. USSD, WhatsApp, okay, Konapo. OldMutual is great. Insurance, investments, just and banking. OldMutual is great. USSD, WhatsApp, okay, Konapo. OldMutual is great.
Waba kukwanisa kuwa na services OldMutual anosanganisira insurance, investment, net banking all on one platform. Usebenzisa password eyodwa. WhatsApp le USSD. Chaya *227# bumbe ukuthumela WhatsApp ku-0777 227 227 ukuthi wenze konke kuma OldMutual.
Convenience in many ways on one platform. Welcome to mine. OldMutual is great. Insurance, investments, just and banking. OldMutual is great. USSD, WhatsApp, okay, Konapo. OldMutual is great. Insurance, investments, just and banking. OldMutual is great. USSD, WhatsApp, okay, Konapo. OldMutual is great.
Waba kukwanisa kuwa na services OldMutual anosanganisira insurance, investment, net banking all on one platform. Usebenzisa password eyodwa. WhatsApp le USSD. Chaya *227# bumbe ukuthumela WhatsApp ku-0777 227.
Ay, mofu! Mngatani bantu, mngatani mofu! Kena nto lefine police ngoba ngikuthini nyakusangaphi mina mofu vuka mani!
Gabriel! Mikael! Peter!
Wena! Gabriel, Peter ukuthini? Akuvukela abamani semsikeni. Khani mofu njani kanti?
Ngathi iyabe ngife ngabomo yini?
Mofu. Umuntu onganga ongela la funeral police.
Awuthi ngifuna ukufaka phela ku wardrobe.
Mina nto uyambona nje ngikhona la. Lo msika wami njona lo. Mina phela nilayo i-funeral police. I-flex OldMutual. Ngikhuluma nje khathesi so. Sebevule ichapele phela ndawo.
Sure.
Phela khathesi wena Mofandi ungavuka ubhujelo. Kumbe wena nje ungavuka ubhubhile khona lapha. Iyakuthi grocery.
Okay.
Ikuthi transport.
Alright.
Ithi imoto yokuthwala umuyi. Lawe singakuthwala nje khona lapha.
Kodwa akunje mina ngingumufu nginje. Ngingayikwanisa khona.
Hayi mofu, athi mina nginje lami nginje ngikhona lapha ngilayo. Ngofuna phela siyahle sivale khathesi nje ngiyokutshengisa.
Hayi asikonje khona.
Madube. Ngicela ungikhangelele emsikeni wami lapha ngiyabuya khathesi. Akusukume hamba njengomuntu ongela funeral police odinga funeral police manje.
Kodwa uzimpose ngafu yakwazi.
Convenience in many ways on one platform. Welcome to mine. OldMutual is great. Insurance, investments, just and banking. OldMutual is great. USSD, WhatsApp, okay, Konapo. OldMutual is great. Insurance, investments, just and banking. OldMutual is great. USSD, WhatsApp, okay, Konapo. OldMutual is great.
Waba kukwanisa ukwanisa kuwana ma-services e-Old Mutual anosanganisira insurance, investment ne-banking all on one platform. Usebenzisa i-password eyodwa. WhatsApp le-USSD. Chaya *227#.
Convenient in many ways on one platform. Welcome to mine. My Old Mutual is great. Insurance, investments, just and banking. My Old Mutual is great. USSD, WhatsApp, okay, Konabo. My Old Mutual is great. Insurance, investments, just and banking. My Old Mutual is great. USSD, WhatsApp, okay, Konabo. My Old Mutual is great.
Waba ukwanisa kuwana ma-services e-Old Mutual anosanganisira insurance, investment ne-banking all on one platform. Usebenzisa i-password eyodwa. WhatsApp le-USSD. Chaya *227#. Kumbe ukuthumela i-WhatsApp ku-0777 227 227 ukuthi wenze konke ku-My Old Mutual.
Insurance, investment, savings, net banking. My Old Mutual is great. USSD, WhatsApp, okay, Konabo.
Old Mutual.
Extraordinary times call for extraordinary solutions. And for over 175 years, Old Mutual has adapted, evolved, and risen to constantly meet the needs of customers with the best personal insurance products, ranging from house owners, household contents, all risks and personal accident cover. That includes fire and allied perils, burglary, and third-party liabilities. Your car gives you the freedom to move. Our motor insurance packages help you keep it that way, including Road Traffic Act, full third-party fire and theft, and comprehensive cover, inclusive of roadside assistance that caters for vehicle towing, tire change, fuel delivery, jump-starting, and retrieval of locked-in keys, among other services. Your business doesn't have to be high risk for a high reward. Our dedicated engineering department provides contractors all risk cover for contract work ranging from residential and commercial construction to infrastructure projects like power stations, roads, bridges, mine shafts, and pipelines. Erection all risks policies designed to cover the risk of loss arising out of the erection and installation of solar equipment, machinery, plant, and steel structures. Plant all risks cover for plants and machinery against unforeseen physical loss or damage. We also offer flexible commercial products and packages tailored to your specific needs, such as Assets All Risks, Farmers Package, Schools and Churches Package, Group Personal Accident, Goods in Transit, Fidelity Guarantee, amongst other products. Old Mutual have maintained a good GCR rating over the years, and we are also ISO 9001-2015 certified. Both recognitions are a testament to our financial strength, achieved through our healthy business profile, strong market positioning, and sound premium diversification. Throughout the decades, our promise to you has remained constant, to be a certain friend in uncertain times. Contact us today for a quote on any of our products at oldmutual.co.zw or www.oldmutual.co.zw. Toll free 433. WhatsApp 0714 699 699 or ask your broker or visit any of the following: EcoBank, Nedbank, NMB, Cabs, Standard Chartered, Zimpost, selected Electro Sales branches, or your financial advisor.
Get ahead of life. Old Mutual. Do great things every day.